The wilderness calls to all of us in different ways. For some, it's adventure. For others, peace. But for a few, it seems to call with something else, something darker. At Missing Persons Archives, we explore stories of people who vanish without a trace. Some cases leave breadcrumbs, a clue here, a theory there. But others are so strange, so fundamentally baffling, they don't just defy explanation, they tear logic apart at the seams. This is one of those cases. Today we look at the disappearance of a young filmmaker, experienced, professional, and no stranger to remote locations, who suddenly, without warning, sprinted down the side of a mountain and vanished into the woods. No motive, no known reason, and no trace ever found. This is the strange vanishing of Terence Shemel Woods Jr. At just 26 years old, Terence Woods Jr. had carved out an impressive career. A talented filmmaker with a strong reputation, Terence had traveled the world shooting documentaries and television programs, from Turkey to Alaska. His work was often demanding, remote, and rugged, but Terence loved the challenge. He thrived on the adventure. A resident of Capitol Heights, Maryland, Terence had studied in England and was now employed by Raw TV, a British production company best known in the U.S. for the hit Discovery Channel show Gold Rush. In October 2018, he was assigned to a shoot for the British series Whitewater. The location, a remote and mountainous section of the Perce-Clearwater National Forest in north-central Idaho, near the legendary and abandoned Penman Mine. Terence was one of 13 crew members on site. At first, everything was fine. Spirits were high. The team was experienced. The location was tough, but nothing Terence hadn't handled before. And then, something changed. October 5th, 2018. The crew had been filming all day. Terence was quieter than usual, but everyone was tired. It had been a long shoot. But what happened next was anything but normal. As the crew packed up for the day, Terence was seen chatting casually with one of the miners. He then excused himself, saying he had to use the restroom. A fellow crew member, watching from a nearby van, later said he suddenly had a gut feeling to look over at the cliff where Terence had been standing. Terence was gone. His two-way radio lay on the ground where he'd just been. The crew member ran to the edge, fearing Terence had fallen. But what he saw stunned him. Terence wasn't lying at the bottom of the cliff. He was running down it, fast. So fast, in fact, that the witness said he had never seen a human being move like that before. He shouted for help. Some of the crew jumped into a van and sped toward the road below in an attempt to cut Terence off. Meanwhile, the witness, who had SAR training, began to chase on foot, calling after his friend. But Terence never looked back. And then, he was gone. The crew searched in every direction. Eventually, they found a house with a landline and called for help. Terence's phone was gone with him, but his backpack, with all his belongings, was left behind. Rescue efforts began quickly, but by the time authorities arrived, it was nearly nightfall. The initial search found nothing. By morning, a fresh layer of snow had fallen, further complicating things. But even with helicopters, thermal imaging, dogs, and trained teams, not a single trace of Terence Woods Jr. was found. No footprints, no clothing, no body. As one search team member said, "It's as if he had never been there at all." After 7 days, the official search was called off, but the questions were just beginning. Terence was supposed to be on location until mid-November, but just before his disappearance, he texted his father saying he'd be coming home early by October 10th. Why the sudden change? Friends and family told investigators that Terence had seemed anxious about the shoot, unlike himself, reserved, worried. He had even told some that he didn't want to go at all, a surprising admission from someone who loved his job and thrived on location-based filming. But others, including his sister, disagreed with that version of events. She said he seemed completely fine when they spoke, excited even. She insisted he would have told her if something was wrong. And then there was a strange message Terence sent to his father the day of the shoot, a video of a river flowing through the canyon, described later as creepy, with no context or explanation. What could make a man, level-headed, fit, and experienced, sprint down a steep cliffside in the middle of nowhere? Authorities offered one explanation: mental illness, a possible breakdown, or even suicide. But Terence had no history of either. No substance abuse, no reported distress, no erratic behavior in his past, and he had every reason to live: a successful career, a loving family, and a passion for his work. His family suspected foul play, perhaps a disagreement with a crew member or something darker. But police dismissed those theories, citing no evidence of wrongdoing. So if it wasn't mental illness, and it wasn't foul play, what was it? Could Terence have seen something out there? Something we can't explain? A shadow? A figure? A presence? Or, as some in this community might consider, was he pulled into something paranormal or even extraterrestrial? In the end, we're left with only questions. Was Terence running from something? Or toward something? Did he plan to vanish? Was it spontaneous? Or was he responding to something no one else could see? Despite the family's continued efforts, flyers, searches, media outreach, no sign of Terence Woods Jr. has ever been found. No clothes, no bones, no phone, no answers. Just a young man who ran into the woods one afternoon and vanished like smoke in the wind. The story of Terence Shemel Woods Jr. reminds us that even in our modern world, where everything is supposed to be tracked, surveilled, and connected, some people can still vanish completely. And when that happens, what's left behind isn't just grief. It's the haunting knowledge that we may never know what truly happened. Was it panic, a premonition, or something far stranger? Let us know what you think in the comments. And if you or someone you know has a story like this, we're listening. Thank you for watching Missing Persons Archives. Stay curious, stay alert, and as always, stay safe.